Okay. When I met Ton, I met a guy that was staring at his screen, looking at log files. And I thought, my God, what a nerd is he. Until I learned what he was actually doing, and he was A/B testing. He was A/B testing before there was A/B testing software. And when I started realizing how many people he showed different variations and how many experiments he did, I started realizing that his CRO business was actually the biggest psychological experiment ever. I estimate that on average, I think 4 billion people a year are being tested within CRO online marketing. That has never been precedented before. I'm a psychologist. I studied back in the 90s psychology. All the knowledge in psychology is based on mainly 18-year-old women, few boys studying psychology, and they're mandatory participating in experiments. Nowadays we have real people with immense amounts who are not even aware that they're being tested. So then I sort of got goosebumps like, oh, this has so much power. And that when we started working together officially, 2009, that's when we really started having fun together and running all these experiments and learning what drives people, mainly from a conversion rate point. Right? And you are probably more in the traffic lead gen business, generating search traffic, but as you probably know, your conversion rate is also important for your ranking in at least Google. So I think therefore still a highly valid topic to discuss, how to boost the number of people that actually visit your landing page or your website and turn them into real loyal buyers. That'll be the topic of today. We have only one day. We want you to get your hands dirty, so there will be workshops in the afternoon, not just pure lectures. There will be like more than half lectures. But it's still only a very short amount of time, so we're going to introduce you into 3 topics with 3 theoretical lectures. And they're just introductions. I'm very much hoping that you will dive into them more, learn more about your own brain and your customer's brain and what drives our behaviors, our decisions, our emotions in the future. And hopefully you're going to apply that massive testing power that you have in your AdWords, but also on your landing pages, to gain more knowledge about what's actually causing human behavior. Because we're only at the start of discovering what really drives us. We are from the Netherlands. And before I start, I want to show you something very typically Dutch. Because we are still a kingdom. We still have a king and a queen. And I'm going to show you a moment in time, which is already, I think, 12 years ago, which is the marriage of our king and our queen. And this is one particular moment when they are in the big church in the middle of Amsterdam, the old church as we call it, at the ceremony. And it went like this. I'm going to stop it there. Why am I showing you this? 2 reasons. First one, I'm totally in love with Maxima. I love everything about her. She is so emotional. She has so much passion. I totally adore her. So that has nothing to do with CRO, but there's another reason. And that's the fact that she is totally opposite my king. My king is more the upper stiff lip, no emotion, very slow type of man. I'm not very fond of my king. I will explain to you later on that I am, but just, these two are completely different, where Maxima is all about emotion and passion and living life to the max, right? She's not Dutch, right? She's from Argentina, but you can see that, you can experience that. This is her jumping up and down in a dress made of postal bags on one of our bigger export products, DJ Armin van Buren. Just having amazingly lots of fun. I love that, totally, especially if you realize how our monarchy, our royal family usually behaves. So I want you to remember her as being very fast, very emotional, very associative, right? She gets from one thought to the other. She could do a trillion things at once, which hardly cost her any energy. Just one big party animal. Right? There's one small disadvantage, that she is so intuitive that she has very little control over her behavior. To give you a small example, she was on national television, they were being interviewed, and she said about her husband, which is our king, that he's a little dumb, he's a little stupid. That was not scripted, right? We all went like, what is she saying? She's not supposed to say that. She's right, but she's not supposed to say that. Now she married my king, back then still Prince Willem-Alexander, and he's the total opposite. Although he's leading our country, please realize that this is the guy that's supposed to bring us to the new battles on social and mobile, empower us with new energy to win those battles. And this is his New Year's speech every year again. Usually this goes on for 30 minutes. They found out in their analytics that no one is listening more than 3 minutes, so they cut it down to 7.5 minutes. Still no one is listening the full story. This is not showing any passion, right? If you listen carefully to his story, he's right. He's saying some very valid things, which are very reasonable and very logical, and they are very wise. We should follow his advice, but we don't. We skip to the next, whatever, Facebook page and just have fun again. So please remember that my king is the total opposite from my queen. He's very slow, he's very lazy. I'll show you a few pictures how he behaves in public. When he does something, it needs his total focus and attention. It costs him a lot of energy, and very often he just falls asleep. Right? He's not that old, but he behaves like he's a granddad who's constantly falling asleep. The cool thing about my king is that he's able to say to his wife, "Oh, honey, better don't do that. It's a better decision. It's more wise if we go to the left and not to the right, to the after party." So, of course I have a reason for showing you this. For now, just remember that my country is ruled by two people. One of them thinks he rules the country, but he's just reading out, decisions and rules that are made up by others in the government, and my queen, and we are not listening to him. We're actually only looking at our queen. Back to the topic. Of course, I'm going to use this as a metaphor later on. Back to the topic, and we're talking about conversion rate optimization. You have people from your AdWords campaign, or maybe Bing, if you go to, you bring them to a landing page or your website, and then you want them to buy, or use your service, install your app, whatever your goal is. That user is a brain. His behavior, his decisions are made by those 1.5 kilos of cortical proteins in fat in between his ears. And that brain is immensely complex. It consists of 100 billion neuron cells. And that's just the 2 millimeter outer layer. It's supported by 1,000 billion glial cells. And there are 1,000 times 1,000 billion connections between those cells. And now I'm here as a psychologist trying to tell you how that brain works. We have a very hard time telling how the brain works. We have a few frameworks that are often counterintuitive and explaining more than most people know by themselves. But we're only slowly starting to discover what actually is driving that brain to decide or to feel or to think. So again, I want to stress that please get back to your data, get back to your tests, and start learning from the behavior of your own prospects and your own customers by applying a very agile scientific method, and just use the frameworks that we're telling you today as a starting point.